You're not ready for it. That's probably not what you expected to hear when you clicked on a video about spiritual growth. But here's the truth. Most people who say they want to wake up don't actually want what comes with it. This path isn't about feeling good all of the time or suddenly living a perfectly peaceful life. It's more like peeling back every illusion you've ever built about yourself, dismantling everything you thought you were. But here's the thing. This shift happens whether you think you're ready or not. The soul doesn't wait for your ego's permission slip. So in this video, we're going to look at 7 signs you might not be ready for spiritual awakening, and why recognizing them can actually help you move through the process with more grace, less resistance, and yes, even joy. Let's get started. When you start awakening, your vibration shifts, and not everyone in your life is meant to come with you into that new chapter. You may notice that your friends start drifting away, or conversations that used to flow suddenly feel shallow. It can feel like you're drifting away from the people you thought would always be by your side. Energetically, here's what's happening. Awakening raises your frequency. If someone isn't shifting with you, there's no longer an energetic bridge to hold the connection. It's not about anyone being better or worse. It's simply resonance. It's like upgrading your phone software. Some old apps just stop working, not because they're bad, but because they're no longer compatible with the system you're running. If you're not ready to let go of those connections, awakening can feel like loneliness. But here's the truth. Those empty spaces eventually get filled with people who do resonate with your authentic self. Losing friends isn't a punishment. It's making room for soul family. Many people chase awakening like it's the ultimate happiness hack. But awakening doesn't start with bliss, it starts with disruption. Old traumas surface, illusions crack, and suppressed emotions demand to be felt. Energetically, this is purification. Dense, stagnant energy can't coexist with higher frequencies, so it's forced out. And yes, sometimes that process feels like chaos. It's less like redecorating a room and more like an earthquake shaking the foundations of your house. At first, everything feels unstable, even chaotic. Walls you once leaned on collapse, and familiar ground feels unsafe. But here's the paradox. That shaking is what frees you. The structures that fall are the false ones, and when the dust clears, what's left standing is unshakable truth. Awakening doesn't bypass pain, it transforms it. The joy that eventually emerges isn't surface-level happiness. It's deep, steady freedom that can't be taken away because it's not built on illusion. We spend our entire lives carefully constructing a self-image. The career we've built, the titles we wear, the roles we play in our families, and the stories we tell ourselves about success and failure. It feels solid, like that's who we are. But spiritual awakening doesn't arrive to polish that image. It dismantles it, piece by piece. It's like realizing you've been acting in a play your entire life, wearing costumes and reciting lines. Then suddenly, the stage light shuts off and the curtain drops. At first it feels terrifying, like you've lost everything that once defined you. But here's the deeper truth. You were never just the role. You're not the costume. You're not the script, not even the applause. You're the actor, and beyond that, you're also the awareness that can step outside the play entirely. On an energetic level, every role, story, or identity is like a cord tying your energy to that version of yourself. Awakening dissolves those cords. It can feel like death to the ego because all its anchors are being cut, but for the soul, it's expansion. If you cling to the character, awakening feels brutal. But when you release the attachments, you experience a freedom that no identity can offer. Because only when those cords dissolve can your true self, vast and limitless awareness, finally breathe. If you're obsessed with controlling outcomes, appearances, or even people, awakening is going to feel like a direct threat. Because the deeper you go, the more life asks you to let go. Awakening is surrender, and surrender is the opposite of control. Energetically, control is a form of contraction. It's like gripping your fist so tightly that no energy can flow through. Awakening is expansion, a dissolving of resistance. And when expansion meets contraction, the tension becomes unbearable. That's why control freaks suffer most during awakening, because they're clinging to the very thing life is trying to release. Imagine standing in the ocean, arms outstretched, trying to push back the waves. The tide is moving with or without you. If you resist, you exhaust yourself and eventually get knocked over. But if you surrender, if you learn to float or even surf, those same waves that once terrified you become exhilarating. The paradox is this: the more you try to control awakening, the more chaotic it feels. But the moment you let go, you discover that life was never trying to drown you. It was carrying you somewhere greater. Many seekers confuse spiritual experiences with awakening itself. You might crave meditation highs, mystical visions, or psychedelic breakthroughs. And while these moments can be profound, they're not the destination. They're side effects. Energetically, these highs are like fireworks, sudden bursts of energy lighting up the sky. They dazzle, they excite, but then they fade. Awakening, on the other hand, is not a spark. It's the sun. Steady, radiant, always present, whether clouds cover it or not. The danger is this: if you chase experiences, you'll get hooked on the next hit. You'll start treating spirituality like an amusement park ride. But awakening isn't about entertainment, it's about truth. True awakening dismantles the seeker who needs constant proof. Instead of asking for another sign, you begin to rest in the awareness that's always been there. That's the shift. From fireworks to sunlight, from temporary states to permanent realization. Awakening changes you, your choices, your language, even the way you see the world. And that often means others will start to drift away. Friends might say you've changed, and they won't mean it as a compliment. Family might judge or mock your new path. Even strangers may sense your shift and react defensively. Energetically, this happens because awakening lifts you to a higher frequency. Think of it like changing the station on a radio. You've moved onto a different wavelength, and the people still on the old one simply can't tune in. If you need constant approval, this can feel crushing. But here's the deeper freedom. Once you stop needing to be understood, you become unshakable. Every mystic, teacher, and visionary throughout history was misunderstood. It's almost the hallmark of awakening. When you no longer crave validation, you discover a higher source of belonging, alignment with truth itself. One of the biggest illusions is believing awakening is a finish line, as if one day you'll wake up, collect your enlightenment badge, and never struggle again. But awakening isn't a trophy, it's a continual unfolding. Energetically, think of it like an onion. Each layer is an illusion, a belief, or a false identity that falls away. But here's the thing, there's no final layer where the onion suddenly stops. The peeling is the path. Or imagine climbing a mountain, thinking there's a summit. But every time you reach a new ridge, you realize there's another peak. The point isn't to arrive, the point is to expand your view with every step. If you cling to the idea of a destination, you'll live in frustration, always waiting to arrive. But if you embrace the unfolding, you discover something profound. The journey itself is the awakening. Here's the ultimate twist. You don't actually get to decide if you're ready. Awakening isn't something you schedule. It's something your soul initiates when the time comes. Energetically, it's like a tide rising. You can cling to the shore, digging your nails into the sand, but the water will still reach you. Resistance makes it feel like drowning, whereas surrender makes it feel like floating. Every uncomfortable symptom, losing friends, losing your identity, painful emotions rising, these aren't punishments. They're signs that the tide of consciousness is lifting you. The gift is this: once you learn how to navigate the waves instead of fight them, the process shifts. The fear softens, you find moments of stillness, and eventually, you may even enjoy the ride. Awakening isn't meant to crush you, it's meant to free you, and the more you flow with it, the lighter it becomes. So here's the question: are you ready? Because if you're not, That's okay, because awakening doesn't wait for your readiness. It's already unfolding. Your only job is to meet it with openness, patience, and courage. And here's the gift. Every challenge, every uncomfortable symptom, every layer you shed, they're all signs that you're becoming more free, more authentic, and more aligned with who you really are. Because at the heart of awakening is this truth. You're not becoming something new. You're remembering what you've always been. Underneath the fear, the loss, and the chaos, there's a brilliance that has never left you. Awakening isn't about fixing yourself. It's about finally seeing yourself clearly. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed learning about spiritual awakening, then you need to watch my other video, The Painful Truth About Spiritual Growth. It goes even deeper into why the spiritual path can feel so hard at times and how to turn that pain into fuel for transformation. Until next time, trust your path, keep moving toward truth, and always stay inspired.